Hey, how you doing?
You
Can
doing
you,
good? I'm doing good. How about you?
good, good. Okay, we're gonna start off by interviewing you. I hear myself in your background, so something staticky going on, but we'll work through that. Um,
Okay, this is all good.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Something's wrong. Okay, I should have figured this out yesterday. Um, but I'm glad you're here today. Um, let's start by asking you your name. Who are you?
I am a human. No, just kidding. My name is Timotheus Gordon Jr., also known as TJ Gordon. The T for Timotheus, and J is for my suffix Junior. That's why I'm called TJ. And I am a autistic self advocate here in Chicago. In addition, I'm also a researcher at University of Illinois at Chicago, or UIC. I am a writer and photographer and just an all-around artist that uses art and media to talk about issues in disability, the disability community, especially when it comes to disability and race.
Okay. Um, Tell us about your hobby.
Hobbies. That's a good. I have plenty of hobbies, but my hobby that I like the most is football. Whether it's playing football with friends in person or playing Madden. I also like to watch football as well. Not just the game itself, but I'll watch documentaries about football. I'll watch the off-season trades and stuff too. That's how much I love football.
Wow, something's wrong here. Okay, just tell us more. Tell me more about your disability work. What are you working on?
Yes. So, I'm glad you mentioned it to it because I'm working on quite a few things. I'm working on a one thing I'm working on right now through my job is a social story that will be audio and video. And that social story will be about how, as a person with a disability who's also a person of color, could get the COVID-19 vaccine and how to advocate getting the vaccine. And the person could also learn more about the myths surrounding the vaccine as far as what's in the vaccine, the barriers they may face, and even the horror stories of pre medical stuff done to people of color. So we'll cover all that. My second big project, it is the one I'll talk about today. On Wednesday from 1 to 2:30 through the Going Home Coalition, I'll be giving a anti-racism training. to people with disabilities and allies as well who are interested. I will talk about what racism is, the connection between disability and race, in ways that you could be an ally to people of color with disabilities and their movements as well. You muted, Julie.
So you mentioned race.
Yes.
How has being black and disabled in some way? Uh, I know that as a person with a disability, they look at us different. Now, add the color component to it, you
Mm,
know, and it's like they target us because the color of our skin. How has it been for you?
absolutely. It's very interesting because you will think you will expect being mistreated for being black and disabled from white non-disabled people. I mean, first they see my color, then they see my disability on top of that. So I'll be discriminated based off of those two things. But I've also been discriminated or isolated by white some white disabled people as well. They see the disability piece, but because of cultural differences, they don't understand being black or being a person of color. In fact, some believe that as long as you're disabled, your ethnicity and race doesn't matter, even though it does matter because it's a part of my identity. And in fact, my disability plays a role in race as well. Like, for instance, with me being autistic or having autism, my expression of how I enjoy things or what I enjoy as an autistic person of color is different from the stereotypical I like science, I like mathematics stereotype of a white autistic person. I'm more into sports and social science. But to be ostracized because of that is one way that some white people with disabilities, not all of them, but some use that thing to discriminate to discriminate and isolate me. But also people in our own community as people of colors has ostracized us and discriminate against us too. Like, for instance, when I used to go to black churches a lot, they never see my disability. In fact, they always say, well, God will take care of you and heal you, even though my disability is more so a part of me. It's not a sickness. Not every disability is a physical ailment, if that makes sense. And also the fact that in black churches or even in black businesses, it's not accessible to me. I need places where if it's too loud, I need a room to just relax and zone out. That is not as noisy. But because of certain cultural expectations of certain neighborhoods I go to, they don't have that. those accommodations. They expect for everybody to be together, even if it's uncomfortable, which I understand. But for people like me who needs the break, I have the right to that break too. And it cannot be met. It should not be met with, no, you gotta stick with us. You gotta stick with us in a situation. Like, now, you don't have combination too, as a black person with a disability.
Okay.
It's a lot. I know it's a lot, but it's deep.
It's deep. It's deep. I want to. I can't see the person's name, but I want to post a comment that someone just made. Uh, oh yes, TJ Timotheus. Um, I totally relate to what you're saying. How we are viewed in the black churches. Yeah,
I agree. Real. It's also weird too because we view it in two lights, at least at in the black church or church in general. On one hand, we super angelic people would help us even when we don't ask for help. They will still try to help us anyway, which is helpful but creepy because we didn't ask, and that's also violate our personal space. But we still get the extreme of, oh, we are God's children simply because we're quote unquote special. We get the other spectrum where we're the devil because we live differently, we think differently, or they see our disability as something to pray about instead of giving us the resources to be a part of the community.
I think um, we're going to talk about later on. But so I hear you're a dad.
Yes, I am. All I want for that two beautiful people.
Okay.
One from birth, that's my son Theo, and another one who calls me Daddy Ada. Not natural, but still mine's. That's my goddaughter Lauren, which is also my girlfriend's daughter as well.
Yeah.
Love them.
How has your disability played a role within being a father?
Yes. So employment is one of them because I need a certain combinations to complete the tasks I need to do at certain jobs, and the fact that I want to find more substantial work to provide for a family. By navigating for employment is more of a difficult task for me. And in a deeper sense, it is more difficult because you want to provide financially for the kids and also for the person I want to marry eventually. But you have to think about it at the same time. Can I handle full time work? Or can I navigate part time stuff I do already to where we live comfortably and get the stuff we need? My disability within itself, hmm, on I guess, a con side, I do need time to process information. so that one, I could calm myself down in stressful situations dealing with the children, and just being reminded of certain things I need to do, like be there for dropping off Lauren, or make sure I bring things or give things to both Theo and Lauren.
Yeah.
But on a positive note, my disability actually helped me be more patient and kinder than I would have been if I don't have my disability. Because I understand more of what they need, and I try to listen to them more than inserting myself, because I was that child where they didn't listen to me. They People insert their expectations of what I need instead of listening to what I need. And the fact that I'm already able to try to listen to their direct needs more already gives me an advantage as a disabled parent. But I could talk about more on that later.
Yeah, we will. I want to go back to it. I want to go back to the disability aspect. Were you always open with your disability? Um, and were you automatically like? At what time did you accept your disability?
Yeah, that's a good question, Shuri. That's a great question. To be honest, at first I hated being autistic. I didn't want to disclose it. In fact, how I was raised to be the best despite being autistic. Part of that also is my self drive to not be picked on a lot, and to show people that I am capable. I am the man. I'm the head MFer in charge. I got this. And so part of that is fitting in and try to hide my disability as much as possible. And plus, I didn't want to be known as, I hate to say the word, so forgive me ahead of time. I don't be want to be viewed as a retard or whatever, or slow or weird. So I spent pretty much my childhood fighting that. I think that's part of the reason why I excel in sports and academics. But then the turning point was when I got to college. I realized that more people accepted me for who I am outside of family. More people accept me for who I am and what I can do, and they didn't even care that I was autistic. That when I realized, it's okay to tell people that I'm autistic. As a matter of fact, there'll be people who will accept you because you're autistic and black, not despite of being black and autistic. And that later helped me connect with more autistic people in general, and eventually people with disabilities in general, especially disabled people of color. That allowed my work because I was more open to talk about my experiences and to accept I am who I am, as opposed to I don't want to talk about it because what if people get the wrong idea? Yes.
What changed? What changed from hiding your disability to now being proud of it?
Me, truly, me. I had changed me, and essentially, if I say I want to help people, part of helping people is telling the truth. How can I help people in the disability community if I hide my disability and hide what's going on. I gotta, it's more beneficial to tell people I'm autistic, I'm disabled, this is what I go through. This is the resources that I use to navigate what I want and need. I think that's more powerful than saying, oh, I'm autistic, but here's all the great things I did, and go over my disability. I think people in general just want to be connected with people with disabilities anyway, so that they could feel empowered and feel like they could go to people that's going through the same situation or similar situations. It's a brother thing, truly, or it's a family thing to make it general, to make it gender neutral.
Yeah. Where do you see where do you see yourself going in the future?
I see myself as a wonderful husband. I'll continue to be a great father, that's for sure. And taking my advocacy to levels I couldn't even comprehend. I will definitely continue to use my advocacy in arts, whether it's putting my issues in my work that I want to address, or putting more people with disabilities in positions to showcase their talent, to make their money, and to their provide for their family and dreams. I want to be that guy that says 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or when God tells me to come back home, to say, TJ was a great guy. He helped a lot of people get to where they need to. He helped many people with disabilities advocate for themselves and others and to use their talents to do so.
A lot of people are looking at you and they're probably asking, so how can I how can I get to where you're at? Or do you have a message for me today?
Sure, but because of time, I'm not gonna give you the whole halftime speech. So sorry, y'all. Sorry, Chewy. No, it's all good. But I think the most important takeaway for me, whether it's personal, professional, advocacy, whatever you do, love yourself. Love yourself first. Know that you're worth something, and everything else will fall in line.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, forget you, Chewy. No, just kidding. I have nothing else to say.
Okay, this is TJ Gordon, and um, we will see you soon.
We'll see you again in a few moments.
All right,
All right, take care.
take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're here. We're live, and we're talking to the wonderful Brittany King. Woo! All right. So I already said your name, so let's just skip that. Um, how are you doing today?
Today, I'm very grounded. I'm usually high off of caffeine because I usually try to get. Well, I had coffee this morning, but it wasn't a whole cup because I made TJ split with me. So I'm actually in a neutral place today.
That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you. I know that you are a mother, you're an advocate, and you are a disability rights activist. Tell us more about you.
Okay, so let's take it from the top. I have three brothers, and because I wasn't as athletic as my brothers, I tried out for basketball, but I kept jamming my fingers because I have small hands. So instead, I was put into ballet, and I found out that the ballet company that was at the Park District that I started ballet in was in my high school that I went to. So when I went to high school, I tried out for the dance troupe team. I didn't get in the first year, so I tried out again the second year. So instead, I did a bunch of like theater stuff because I wasn't sporty. So I didn't do basketball, I didn't do volleyball, like none of that. Because first of all, I'm short. My mom's short. My dad's short. I didn't really have a stand a chance. So I did the plays all 4 years, and then I did the dance troupe 3 years after freshman year. And then, oh, my best friend actually lives around the corner or down the street from Access Living. So, and I didn't find out until after my stroke happened when I went to college in my second year. So, having a stroke rendered me disabled. And so, after that, I found out that Access Living was down the street. The Empowered Fifis actually came out to do a presentation at the time when I was inpatient and I was getting ready to graduate out of the inpatient session and go home, which I wasn't really interested in staying in the hospital and doing therapy at 6 a.m. because my life was more active before my stroke, and I just didn't want to sit around and bullshit till I was called upon by therapists. So I said, bye, guys. And then I got into the Fifi group. And then I got back into school because I was like, school is the only thing I know at this point. I got to get back to school. And in being in school, I joined the Fifi group because I was doing school at community college, and it helped that I was off on Fridays, which were Fifi meeting days. And so that's how I got into activism and access living.
Wow. So much to cover right there. So many areas to cover. Um, talk to us. Talk to us. How was your life before the stroke?
Before my stroke, I was very closed minded, I think, and narrow minded as to like, I'm just gonna finish school, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna make money and live and die. That was my only goal before my stroke. I think after stroke, I got to sit back and reevaluate my goals because I at the time I was in school to be a teacher, so I had my teaching. I was in for my teaching certificate and associates, and then when I came back home, I actually finished my teaching degree at Truman, but then it was in the student teaching service hours that we had to do that I realized like this is too much for my now disabled body and my mental as being a person or not a victim, but like as being a survivor of a stroke, it was just too much. So I got to reassess what I wanted to do with my life, which was the activism role. So it kind of worked out in that I got a chance to reevaluate. Versus, I think that if I didn't have a stroke, I would be stuck as a teacher in the climate that is COVID-19 and miserable and upset and just frustrated. So I think God did it for a reason. So I could reevaluate, like just going this narrow path, like there's different ways to get to the end point. And I think I needed to be seated or kind of leveled out to figure that out.
Okay. Did it did it take you a long time to adjust or to get like the question I was asking earlier to TJ is how long did it take you to accept your disability and embrace it, for who you are today?
Okay, I think that my stroke happened in September. October, I was back in Chicago at RIC, which is now Shirley Ryan. And because I decided that I wanted to go back to school, I spent 3 months inpatient. And I decided, okay, I can give myself these 3 months because I know that I want to be in school for the spring semester. And that was because I set that goal. I decided within myself that I could take this whole 3 month of time to be sad and depressed. But when I get to school and whatever lies beyond inpatient therapy, I need to get my shit together and be neutral and not this depressed, sad rain cloud. I have to find the cloudiness and let the clouds lift. So I think 3 months was more than enough time for me to be in that depressed situation because I was also on medications, antidepressants at the time. So I think even when I came home after the holidays, I was trying to get off of all these medications because I wasn't used to medications before a stroke outside of like multivitamins, but I wasn't trying to take 7 pills every day for the rest of my life. So I think in that being out in the real world or like doing actions and things with the Fifi group, I was put in a different mindset so that I was like, all right, also when I was outpatient, there was a situation that happened because most old people have strokes usually. Most of the people who have strokes are usually older folks, at least at that time when I was in the hospital. So there was a guy in the outpatient facility that I was at, and he said, Brittany, because he could see and sense how frustrated I was with this disabled state. And so he said, Brittany, this is the new you. You need to love her and get used to her because she's not going anywhere for a while. And I think that was the click moment of like, whoa, let's see what I can do in this physical body of like limitations and all. And so I think there was also another incident after that conversation. I was heading to school from Lakeview to Uptown, and there was a guy who stopped me on my way to school, and he said, don't you know that if you pray to God, he could fix you in an instant, and that's all you need to do? And I think, and it was, I can say for 100% certainty that I didn't reply to this guy. It was like a divine thing. But my response was, there is a reason that I am in this state, and there are people that I will be able to reach out to being in this state as I am right now. And I said, I am letting God show me why and where that leads me. And so that's why I kind of dismissed him. It's like, okay, I understand that I could pray probably to make it better, but if it's not supposed to be better because there's a lesson in this time, then I need to learn that. And so I think kind of what you were talking to TJ about with this whole church, because I started the choir after I was out of therapy. I started choir and I was in the Fifi group and I was
Wait. You can sing?
yes. I can hold a note. I can hold many notes.
Okay.
I know Aretha Franklin. I know Alicia Keys, but I can hold a note at the very least.
Okay. So go ahead. You were talking before and I interrupted you.
Oh, so this whole idea that the church, like you can pray it away or like it was just horrible. I didn't like that dynamic. And I think that's the reason that I stayed with my church at the time because the pastor at the church that I was in was my pediatrician. And so he had a way of viewing things that was different from any other pastor that I've met. And I was biased because he was my pediatrician. So I was like, I'm staying here with Doc and this is where it's at. Plus, I also fell in love with the church choir originally. Before I even realized that he was the pastor, I fell in love with the choir at Apostolic Faith, aka AFC. So that was the motivation to stay in church. And then because I fell in love with the choir, after my stroke, I was introduced to the young adult choir and I joined that after my stroke. And I had a lot of love and joy in that, and my connection to God and my faith got stronger because of that. But then there was this factor of my limitation and performances, because when you perform at church, we were doing all 3 services back to back at the time. So you had to go here, go eat breakfast, come back for the next service, go take a chill pill, come back for, and that back and forth was a lot on my body, especially with the limited mobility that was new to me. But that also kind of made me stronger. So it's a bittersweet situation. but he also accepted the fact that I didn't feel like I needed to be cured or fixed to be part of the church. And I appreciated that aspect of that. However, yeah, so that's all within the span of before I got pregnant. Then I got pregnant and I felt like there's no space at the church for unwed mothers to be. I felt some type of way. I think maybe that was just internalized, but I feel like okay, I don't have space to be performing, and then I'm unwed, and then I know what the church says about that. Like I just felt conflicted internally, and so I decided to pull out of the church. Well, at least AFC, and I joined another church, and they were more liberal and inclusive of this new space I was in with being a mother, not married to Gregory, but also he was along for the ride, whatever that looked like. And then after like I left Gregory, we still are in strong communication now. And actually, I am on the way to being on their pastoral board. So there was a lot to do, or there was more to do in the new church than at AFC because I felt like I just lost out because I was pregnant and I didn't have a husband. And that's not to say I couldn't got a husband, but I wasn't looking for a husband at AFC. And so I didn't feel like I fit, so I kind of dismissed myself because there was nowhere for me to feel inclusive and welcome like I did at Access Living or in my advocacy realm.
Talk to us about your disability and how people perceive you. In the sense that some people accept your disability, some people are just like looking at look give you looks.
Mm-hmm. You can't really see my disability unless I'm coming towards you or walking away from you. So even on like public transportation, if I'm sitting and there's an elderly coming on the bus, I get dirty looks about like, come on, young lady, get up and let the old lady sit down. And I'm like, I'm probably about as unbalanced as she is, so I'm just gonna sit here. And so I think I was angry a lot in the beginning, and then I felt like I had to explain to people like I'm also disabled. But then it was also comedy for me because then I would get up, and then you can see that my left hand is at my side and not hanging down, and so they just shut up quickly. So it was more comedy for me for people to try to. I like how people try to assume that you're not disabled, and then when you stand and present your disability, it's a whole like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, and an apologetic and too much. Yeah, it's a thing. Also, though, I felt like I didn't limit myself to my disability, so no one else did. For example, like doing performances at church, they didn't want to offer an accommodation for like allowing extra time if I didn't speak up. And that kind of empowered me to speak up for myself. So like if I did not need that extra time, I said, okay, can you guys sing and I'll answer from the back or put me in the back so that I can catch up and be there with you guys when I'm short. So I was usually in the front. But I didn't have to speak up because they didn't see it as a limitation if I didn't see it. And I appreciated that about AFC. And what else? Disability. Disability for me, especially in the beginning, was more of a you have to laugh at yourself to get past the depressing part of my life has been changed and how will I do this and how will I do that. Also, family dynamics changed because I had a boyfriend at the time and I was going to go visit him in Carbondale while I went to school. And my mom's sentiment was, you shouldn't go visit because you can't even get yourself dressed. And my rebuttal to that was, well, if he's taking off the clothes, then he can help me put the clothes back on. So I'm going to go visit. And I ended up going to visit him because I'm just that stubborn.
Oh, I know. I know for a fact. You don't got to tell me that. All right. Talk to me about Brittany the mother.
Ooh, babies. Oh, yeah. So Gregory is Lauren's dad, and he was very suave. He was very smooth when we met, and I like that. But oh, Gregory. So Gregory gave me the option. He said, Brittany, do you want me to wrap up when we have sex? Because we were open with our sexuality, whatever. And he's in a chair. And I didn't think anything of it, but I said, so I put it on him. I said, you know the repercussions of not having a condom, so you make the decisions because you know what's coming if we don't have a condom. And so he made the decision to not have a condom. Thus, Lauren was born, but it was really weird because he was excited when we found out. And then when I went to go get, when I went to go see a doctor about, when I went to go see a doctor about the pregnancy and then like carrying through the pregnancy, he changed because originally we went to like a clinic, I think it was Planned Parenthood, and he said, well, Brittany, we saw her heartbeat flickering, which was at the time she was only a few weeks cooking, and you only see the flickering light. And so we had discussed before the appointment that if there was no presence of a baby or like it was minimal, we would abort. And so I said, okay, whatever. I didn't think anything of her. I said, okay, that's an option. And I put it at the back of my mind. But then after we saw the flicker of her heartbeat, he said, well, Brittany, let's be realistic. Because I said, oh, yes, the coordinator who I spoke with or the attendant I spoke with talked to me separate from Gregory at that time because we were like, all right, just abort. It's just a flicker of light. And so she actually had a one-on-one with me in the meeting, in the appointment, and said there are more benefits than disadvantages to having a baby. And I was unprepared. I was still living at home with mom, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to have a baby and regulate and do all the things that I want to do, travel and do more school, whatever. So I was concerned, and so she kind of sensed that concern for me and Gregory because we already had our mind made up when we walked in there. But then she brought it down to a spiritual level and said that, well, at the end of your days, when you're talking to God, it's just you and God, and he asks you about this situation, how will you feel about saying that, oh, I just wasn't ready at the time? Like, how could you justify that? And so she got into my mind like that, and that made my mind take like, she's right, let's make it work. Because I know my mom had me and my 3 brothers, and she decided to just take care of us herself outside of the fathers in the situation. And we all have different dads. So I said, I've seen many women do it without the help of a man. And also I knew a disabled couple. Well, the wife is disabled, and she raised me and my brothers and her kids. So I said, I am more than ready to do this step. And so I decided to tell Gregory, I said, sweetheart, this is happening because of my relation to God, and like what I just had this connection with this lady that I didn't even know, and she knew how to break it down for me. So I appreciated her support and insight to that, because if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have had Lauren. And so I told Gregory, I said, sweetheart, you can stay or you can go. Either way, I'm going to figure it out. And he was like, no, I want to be in my baby's life. So I said, okay, then we're going to work it out. And so Gregory was there for the process of trying to fed me up, and then being in the hospital room for Lauren. And then we heard her first cry, and it was all over after that. She's just a hot mess and love all in one. And I don't regret any decision that I made in that whole process because of how it happened, really. So now, before she was little, so me and Gregory moved in together the month before she was born. So when she was born, I sleep really hard. Unless you're in close proximity to me, I can't hear or nothing. I can't sense or hear anything. So Lauren had her own room. We got upgraded to the 2-bedroom. And so Gregory was really upset with me originally because I couldn't hear Lauren crying in the middle of the night. So he was up making bottles and making sure she was okay. And he was kind of upset with me about like, Brittany, you're not connecting with your daughter in the middle of the night, or Because I'm a day person. If I'm up during the day, Lauren had all my attention. At night when I'm asleep. So Gregory, you handle that, you figure that out. And he was so upset with me about it. And I said, well, this is what it is. You take it or leave it. And I think all that warned him because he wasn't used to responsibility. And I think that's essentially what led to our domestic altercation that we had, which caused me to move back in with my mom 2 years ago now. So so after we left, after I took Lauren and came to my mom's house, I had to change my mindset of, okay, Gregory just needs to provide for Lauren. And that's all I really needed from him originally, because I had it in my mind that if Gregory decided he wanted to leave, I was going to take care of Lauren by myself. So I was already ready for that option. And so in that, I felt like being a mother was easier for me now that I was detached from this person, because then all my focus is only on her. So I got her into the school into the daycare now, and all he does is pick her up. Well, not all he does, but he picks her up from school. After I take her to school, he picks her up and brings her home, and then we do it all over again every day of the week. And then on weekends, he grabs her too when he can. So that's motherhood in a nutshell. I got a lot of support, so it's not really difficult.
Wow. Now, Brittany, I know you're working on many projects besides being a mother. So, talk to me about those projects because you are an amazing person.
Oh yeah, we do have a lot coming up. So when I was in the Fifi group, I was.
And you got to talk to me about that Fifi group because, I know them, but the people out there may not know them.
Okay, the Empowered Fifis of Chicago is a advocacy and support group for women with disabilities. And they came out, so they presented themselves to me when I was inpatient doing therapy. And so when I left in December, after I'd finished my 3 months of inpatient, I decided while I was going to school with my Fridays off, I would go to the Fifi meetings. And so the leader at the time, or the coordinator at the time, highlighted my leadership, and I got put in leadership roles within the group, so that when that coordinator, her name was Kim, her name is Kim, she's still alive, she's not gone, but when Kim stepped away for health reasons, we brought in the intern that we had previously. And so because I was in close connection with Kim and the leadership aspect, Falani took to me for the leadership and direction for the meeting. So I was kind of in this co-coordinator position. And then when Falani left, I just took up the reins and kept going. And I asked the girls, I said, we can either forget these meetings or we can all step up and maintain the meetings. And that was last year. And they said, we had all decided that there was no space for women with disabilities to come and commune the way that we did. So we decided to upkeep the group. And I wasn't paid. I wasn't getting money or funding or benefits. I wasn't getting anything out of the leadership that I stepped up to in the past, last year, and now rolling over into this year. I'm not being paid for the work that I do, but I felt like I deserved to, or not deserve, but I felt like because the group found me in my most depressive time of like sadness and just despair, it felt like, and helped me to be a leader, I felt like I owed it to the group to maintain that. And then this year, actually, we were, so another coordinator at Access Living, the art coordinator at Access Living, reached to us about like getting on board with the art projects that they have going on, and they had funding. And I said, sure, I'm not doing it for money, but if you want to give me money, I'm not going to say no. So that's how we got re-emerged this year.
Wow. And you're working on projects right now?
Yes, right now we have, so within the group right now we will be doing a sip and paint event at the end. Yeah, at the end of March. I think externally we are open to looking for things, but right now we're just keeping it internal and internally getting stronger and building ourselves and creating this foundation. And we're not really expanding outside yet, but we're open to being outside of internal stuff. But we're also trying to figure out if Access Living wants to still house us, because then I get a spot at the table and I get money in my bank. So they're deciding internally whether or not to have the Fifis under their umbrella versus like this non-for-profit free fall we're doing right now. And I told them either way, I have no problem looking for funding and being represented independent of Access Living. But I know because we were birthed out of Access Living, I wanted to give them that option to give us a seat at the table.
Okay. And so there are people out there. It's actually there's a few people watching you. So you got a few words for them.
Who's watching?
I'm not. I don't know who's watching. I just know that there's people watching. So you got words for them right now of encouragement, or
Oh yeah. I thought you meant like, should I plug my information? I didn't. I just.
no. So like, where do you see yourself? First of all, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years. Ooh, I'm gonna run for presidency in 8 years. So
Mm.
10 years, I see myself as president.
President King. Hey.
Yes.
Cool. That sounds pretty cool. President King. Wow. Um. So you have very much know where you want to go 10 years from now.
Yes, I'm on a path. I feel like right now, because of the because of the redirect that happened after my stroke, I'm on a different path. I wasn't into politics with like in the student body in high school because I was so focused on enjoying my life of like dance and theater, because that's what I like to do. I like to perform. And then again with like the choirs at church. So I think that in my enjoyment of my childhood in the performing aspect, right now it's time as an adult to do some more certified official things, and I appreciated this redirect. So when I see God, I'll see, okay, that was a fun run. Can we do it again?
Yeah. Um. How do you manage time between the things you do and taking care of Lauren?
I think setting up your schedule in a timely fashion. So I feel like when I'm not in a meeting, I eat or I clean up. So I think just scheduling your time accordingly. Also having a support system. So sometimes when I'm not at home to clean up, my mom will put the laundry away that I forgot about last week, or she'll fold it. So like having a good support system is essential and crucial to making it as a person with a disability, even living at home. But then like after you move out and have your own place, having a PA or a husband to help you is essential too. Because I know some relationships personally of people who have become disabled and their spouse has gone left and like unsupportive and just a horrible space to be in. And so I think managing and maintaining a supportive system is essential for living a fruitful life as a person with a disability, whether you're a mother or just a single.
Um. What would you tell young ladies out there that are in your situation or similar?
I think that because my disability happened to me and wasn't something I grew up with, be in the know of what's going on politically for sure. Because I think that whole, I don't appreciate that I didn't have access or education on disability, because that would have changed my whole mentality coming into disability. So I would really say educate yourself before something happens, because there's very much this idea that disability is inevitable, and I feel like we as leaders are paving the way so that when, God forbid, Lauren has a disability in her future, she can look at my life and say, oh, I can do this. She did it. And so I like being that role model. And if you need help, reaching out to people is what you can do.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, except for the question that you don't ask, because then you still don't know.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say to people?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Reach out. I'm here for you. This is what I'm hopefully getting paid to do soon.
Cool. All right. See you in a few.
Okay. Thank you, Chewy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, we're live again. Ooh. This time with the couple. Ooh.
Damn.
All right. We're back, people. We're back, and it's more funner than ever because we got both of them on the screen. Uh, you missed it. You missed it before we on the air. We were talking about Lauren, and I'm like, wait, she drinks coffee.
Oh, the things that happen backstage.
Yeah, the things that happen backstage. Funny, funny, funny. Wow. How long together? How long have you guys been together?
It'll be a year on Memorial Day.
A year on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
But TJ had feelings for me since 2015 when we first met. He just didn't speak up about it, so he didn't get to win.
That's because you have a certain aura about you where you're on your stuff. I didn't want to mess that up.
And TJ was a clown, so I was like, okay. I put him in the brother category, like that's my play brother, whatever. He could have been my work brother because we do a lot of the same work together.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really checking for TJ until after I left Lauren's dad, and then she was like, "Hey, Brittany, guess what?" And so we had to decide what that looked like last year, and it worked actually.
Mm-hmm.
How has the relationship changed, you guys? I mean, how has it been? Because I know I'm reading the post that you just got your own little space.
Oh yes.
I'm like, wait a minute. What? How long have you been together? And he just gave you your own little space?
No, he didn't give it to me. I took it. I claimed my own space. Actually, TJ lives down the street, so we were always either TJ was here or I was there. So I was usually over there for his parties when we first started dating. He had like fun parties, so I used to be at the party. I'd bring marshmallows or whatever snacks to snack on, and he would throw a party for his friends. So then, yeah, I didn't really think about okay, so we also work out across the street from TJ's house sometimes. So I would bring my workout shoes to his house, but I didn't really leave it over there because it was fine walking back and forth bringing just a pair of shoes. And then this year, I was like, okay, TJ actually kind of likes me, and we talked about him giving a ring soon. So I was like, maybe I could just leave. It was accidental when I left my stuff over there the last time. because I bought my deodorant in bulk. So there was two. So there was one at home, and then I was like, all right, just take it to TJ's house for when I shower at TJ's house after the gym. I can not be smelly. So I just left the deodorant. And then last weekend for a retreat we were having, I just left the pajama set and a pair of socks because we were going to go together. So I was like, just leave it here. So I accidentally left stuff there.
Yeah, right.
And now I just organized it. So it's been there. I just organized it.
Yeah.
I accidentally left a pair of shoes at Brittany's house because when I come over to her house, there's a gym below us. And so what I usually do is I wear gym shoes all the time, so I never switch to boots or whatever. But then Brittany gave me an idea of, you come over here a lot, just leave your workout shoes at my place.
Oh, that's the reason. Because of the snow, it was like, it doesn't make sense to walk back and forth in snow and then go to the gym and then get it salty and dirty. So I said, just leave it and I'll leave mine. And that's how that worked.
Wow.
Even though, Brittany has to convince me because I'm normally not the person to leave stuff intentionally at other people's houses.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I didn't find out where you lived until one day. I think we took pace together, and I'm like, "Wait, is that where you live?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I was a little discombobulated. The word. I was like, "Wait a minute, what? Where? What?"
Yeah, right down the street.
Right down the street from me, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Do you know where TJ lives?
No.
Oh, he's down the street from us on Diversity and Clark. He's right there.
What?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So close. So close.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, I mean, hey, the weather's getting nicer outside.
Mhm.
As long as we keep social distance,
Mhm.
let's get together sometime.
Hang
you know.
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But besides that, as a couple, what have you learned about each other?
I learned that TJ needs, okay, I understand that everybody needs space in a relationship, but sometimes TJ needs space. And that means like TJ's very more social than even I am. So like so TJ has a whole crew of friends that
Wait. Hold up. TJ is more social than you.
Exactly, Chewy. And he has a whole crew of friends that he's known for like 10 years, and they all get together as often as they can, which is very awesome, I think. And they kind of welcome me. So in that, I know that they like to hang out a lot. Like even when even yesterday, TJ was here with me and we were hanging out with Lauren, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to a party because they wanted me to hang out." And I said, "Okay, TJ, get your space. That's your space. That's your thing." So I learned that TJ needs time apart. I'm cool with that as long as you get to text me or you're able to text me. Because then it started snowing yesterday, and I'm like, TJ just left, and I texted him and I said, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I just got to the house, so I'm good." And so I said, "Okay, be mindful of not staying too long because it's snowing." And so as long as I get to chat with you while you're out and away and having this extra space, we're cool.
Wow.
Yeah, what I learned about Brittany in the process is Brittany is more of a nerd than she leads on. In fact,
Excuse me while I do this.
damn, you gonna put us on front street like that?
No. Go ahead, TJ.
I love you, man.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Going back to the initial reason why I was afraid to date Brittany and be upfront with my feelings, because I had the notion that if you see people, you get an idea of what the person is like. You don't need to go deep into their personality. So my thing initially was, oh, Brittany is no nonsense. Brittany is about business. Brittany is not into some of the fun stuff I get into. So I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna work, but she is so beautiful. She's so damn talented.
Versus how am I now?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
All right, so we had a talk about what's our favorite things, and I talked about how much I love anime and cartoons. That's when you brought up, oh, I like those cartoons too. And once I showed you a particular one called Agresco, which is basically about a red raccoon who works during the day but then does karaoke heavy metal at night.
To de-stress.
Yes. She loved it so much. She geeked out about it. I'm like, wow. She must have been geek as I am. And she also gets my jokes, which I thought she'll smack the shit out of me, but she doesn't. She just do a little tap. So basically what I learned is don't judge the book by its cover. Get to know the person. And I wish I would have got to know her more years ago, but I'm glad it happened now before it was too late.
Also, I feel like because of the fact that we both have children separate from each other, that means I don't have to do all the work of having more kids. I'm good for one more maybe, and we're good because he has a boy, I have a girl. We got this boy-girl thing down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that's how we really started connecting with each other more once we realized our babies are going to be born around the same time. Lauren was born in March. Theo, also known as Othello, was born in May.
Also, coming back to Access Living as an advocate with a baby was tricky. And I made TJ help me because he didn't get that same interaction with Theo because his mom took him to another state. And so I knew that TJ wasn't getting that child playtime that he probably wanted. So I made TJ do all that playtime with Lauren because I was tired from advocacy stuff and TJ had too much energy. So I said, okay, go play with Lauren and you guys work that out. And they definitely have a relationship and a language that's really funny because of that.
It's called Speaking in Lauren. So our relationship got to the point, well, first, Lauren, other than picking her up high, she likes to be up high. She used to either just stare at me or scream. But now the more that she saw me, she's now chasing me, jumping on me, look for me whenever I cook or see what I'm cooking, or even drag me into her room to help get ready. I'm like, and she stopped calling me Da instead of TJ or T or J. She said Da. And I feel like because I showed her that I'm a good person, I'm here to take care of you and help you grow, I think that's why it tears me up now. I think that's why she said, Da, Da, Da. I feel like that's pretty much essentially as much she's my child as much as Theo, even though, Theo was my creation and Lauren's not, but the fact that Lauren wants to be a part of me.
I think it also has to deal with the way we are affectionate towards each other when Lauren is around is a factor of that. and I told Gregory, which is Lauren's dad, that it was going to be a thing if we're not together, that Lauren would find someone else to kind of latch onto as a father figure, like I did with my mom leaving my father. So I warned him about that, and Gregory, he thought that he could control the amount of time I spent with other men, which was not realistic because I grew up with 3 brothers, so I kind of relate more to men than women because of my childhood. So I think that Gregory decided that he wanted to be called Pops by Lauren. My early childhood education certificate means that I know that there are words and letters that kids cannot say until a certain age because of their tongue and their mouth development. So I know daddy comes before pops, like ma becomes before nana or whatever. So I said, okay, you'll be pops, and Lauren decided that TJ was Doc. And so I think that was interesting how Lauren decided to cling to TJ because of his interaction with me in my day-to-day and like after school with Lauren.
And by the way, going back to the language of Lauren, it's words that I could understand what he's saying, even though it's more broken up syllables than full words. For instance, ba is bottle, da, me, mom could be either Brittany or her grandmother. Pop could be pop, sparkling water, or her dad,
Gregory, right?
Pops.
Also, Lauren has a very weird situation where she says snacks, but snacks, no, juice and boots sound the same because her mouth is not fully developed in that way. So sometimes when I say, okay, Lauren either has to show me physically by going and grab what she wants, or I say, okay, ask Doc because I don't know what you're saying. She knows when to say. She knows how to tell TJ what she's saying because I'm like, I can't. That's past my mental capacity.
And she knows a little sign language too, so that also helps.
Does. That helps.
Oh, she does know sign language?
She knows more. She knows thank you.
you.
What else does she know? Well, she also says mas. So I'll ask her, do you want more? And she says mas.
And please.
And sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. She's got little things she helps with. But it's the verbal snacks and boots, and it's too much.
Wow. Well, talk to me about you guys. I mean, well, obviously no regrets because I just heard that um uh that you guys may be engaged by Memorial Day, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Could be, or it could be
TJ
anytime.
He won't tell me when. He says we'll be engaged sooner than later. Originally, he said, wait till after the first 6 months. So I thought I was going to ring after the 6 months, but he was like, no, I said, let's see what happens after 6 months. And then we go out and he's talking to Genevieve and Chris, who are engaged now. And he said, well, let's see what happens after a year. So now we're coming up on our year, so I have to see what happens after the year. He's not really telling or giving, which is, I understand, but yeah, I don't like surprises. Well, I like surprises in that they're cool, but I don't like to be surprises when I don't know what's coming because then my reaction is off.
But also, there's a merit to my madness because you can't just tell people, "Oh, we about to get engaged this date." They're gonna expect this date, but the whole process is let's see what we can do in certain situations, whether it is how we handle the kids, how we handle ourselves when we share in the same space. It's like a process that we want to go through before getting up to engagement. And then after engagement, there's things that we discuss or go through before marriage. I strongly believe that people who have strong connections, but plan it for. They'll just rush into things off of feelings.
Impulse, yeah.
Mhm.
As a person who has been part of relationships, I can say, take your time, get to know each other better.
Yes.
Um, you know, because you might find some things that you may not like about each other, and you might find things that you like about each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And also, yep. And also, it's a puzzle process with me because I've been through several relationships or casual encounters where honestly I just rushed into it simply because of first impression or they're attractive. Until I realize, oh no, I'm being played. And I feel that's probably why I get these periods where if I break up with people for whatever reason, I don't date for a long time. And I thought, before Brittany, I thought, I'm just gonna be chilling, kicking it for the rest of my life. I don't know if dating works. But once I found Brittany, I I think it's more part of it because impulse or not giving enough time to get to know people or being blinded by not seeing other sides of people until it gets stressful.
nowadays people jump into like a relationship right away, and then right away they want to get married. You know, I'm 38, all right, and yes, I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I just ended my last relationship, but I'm like TJ. Like, okay, you know what? If this relationship doesn't work out, I'm just not gonna go out there anymore and look for someone. You know, I learned this from Candace. Candace taught me some wise words. Stop looking. The right person will come to you.
Not supposed to be looking for sure. I think I'm more of the dismissive type. Like, if you don't want to be here, boo, you can go. There's another one coming. Boys, I like buses, is the phrase, right?
But I mean, in I say that as friends. I say, get to know each other a little bit more. Um, if the ring comes, then fine. Um, but
The ring comes.
when the ring comes, then fine. I mean, then it's really serious.
Right.
But I would say it's like, don't jump into it right away. Like, say, oh, okay, well, let's get married. Let's get married right away. No, let it take its course.
I think we're learning that through another couple that we know, because they just got engaged last year and they were together for a year. And I thought that was too fast. And I was like, Boo, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, because they were kind of just living together anyway. Also, that's the next step for me and TJ of like, because we're both at each other's house more than usual, or naturally that's what we do. Like, TJ will stay till like my mom gets home from work, and mom's cool with that. But like, TJ sometimes stays and mom's working late, and it's like, TJ, it's 10:30. You can go home, sweetheart. It's too dark to be walking by yourself. And so I think that comfortability of it after even a year is more incentive. And even my mom and his mom are asking like, okay, what's the next step for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm waiting for a ring, mom's like, go live with TJ. I know you're safe. And vice versa with his mom, like, you guys can do that. And so I think, especially coming from the church standpoint of like, you guys are living together unwed, but you guys are always at each other's houses anyway. So it's a thing,
Yeah.
I think.
I think the bonus also, you mentioned already, Brittany, is that our mothers already approve of us anyways, and they already see it coming. That's probably why I'm sure your mom talking about marriage stuff already, and my mother is telling me This is how it's gonna be. Get ready. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. How do you think it's gonna affect your children's lives?
That's actually a great question.
Because
It's
I mean, Theo will look at Brittany as a stepmother,
mm-hmm.
and Lauren will look at you as a stepfather.
Yeah.
So, how do you think that's gonna impact them?
Based on that's a good question. That's really one of the questions that we will get to once we get to that situation. But based on how our interaction with Lauren is already, and the fact that she's willing to listen to sound father figures and important figures in their lives, I would say Theo would do the same, especially his nature is chill and a sweetheart anyways. I think both kids will benefit our presence and not only teaching them values and the ways of the world, but also open their eyes to many possibilities and let them be themselves. So I think we will be like a major influence, but at the end of the day, we just the ignition to start things.
I think that before Lauren, I was a single black woman and I didn't have kids. And I didn't want to be in a relationship with a guy who had kids because I wasn't trying to be a stepmother. So when guys who had kids approached me, I was like, nope, go work it out with your baby mama because I'm not trying to be that stand-in mama because I'm not with it. And even like in the time before TJ, there was a relationship that I was considering. But because the guy wasn't in communication with the kid's father because it was two boys, I said, I don't want to do that because I can't be Tommy and Johnny's mom because the mom is not, and I refused to do that. So I felt like because TJ had a son and I had a daughter, it kind of works and it made it easier to say yes because TJ understood the dynamic that we shared in common. And so I think that it was just a matter of time before that happened because I love kids. I went to school to educate kids. So that wasn't the issue. It was just that I don't want to be a mother. But if I see, okay, I also believe in leading by example. So, for example, my mom had the four of us with different guys. I did not want that for my life. And that showed in that I waited till I was 29 to have Lauren. And so I feel like because me and TJ come from this space and we have to talk about that with our children as well of like your daddy didn't love me the way I wanted to be loved, so I found your dad. And so that's definitely a communication piece and I think it won't hurt in our relationship with our children, but I think it will also help in certain ways because they can relate if they choose to have children out of wedlock or get married after or whatever. I think that helps the conversation and the bond between mother or parent and child. Mm-hmm. And then also, because my niece, today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Miley.
Happy birthday.
She was very conflicted at the age of like 5. She's 9 today. And she was struggling with this idea of that, like, yes, I have a mother and yes, I have a father. And then her mother got engaged. So in her mind, she said, oh, now I have 2 dads. And so I think kids are very smart. So she was able to grasp like, okay, this is how I act, or this is how I love this person in this sense. And this is how I act or love this person in another sense. Like Lauren doesn't call TJ Doc if Gregory's at the door still dropping her off. She'll wait till he leaves and then, oh, Doc, she'll look for him if he's not here on the couch, but she won't verbally be like, Doc, where are you? So she's very smart in that sense. And I think that kids will understand that. Our kids will understand that. And with Theo, I'm not looking to be Theo's stepmom. I'm looking to support Theo. If his mom doesn't want to talk to Theo about sex, I'm more than willing to talk to children about sex, whether it be Lauren or Theo. So I think it'll strengthen our bond with our children that we are together and how we came together.
It'll strengthen the bond within our families too, considering through Theo's line and Lauren's line is together is diverse already. The kids will have diverse experiences that even we didn't get to have as children. So I'm looking forward to it. And the fact that I'm still connected with Theo's mom's folks is already telling son that it's gonna be a big village either way it goes, no matter what happens.
Wow.
And that's a great thing with interacting with Lauren, because it reiterates why I was called to be a parent, because as a father, I have the strong sense that yes, I'm a father, but also I know how to let the village be the village.
Yeah.
And not be jealous because another person is there. It took me some time to adjust that Theo at the moment has another person that he might call dad or pops or whatever, but also knowing that at the end of the day, he's being taken care of by everybody. And I do my part from a faraway distance, which I hate. Don't get it wrong, I hate being apart from Theo, but I do my best to talk to him whenever I could and give him the things that he needs to survive and thrive as a little baby. So it's the same thing with Brittany too. We all do our part to make sure Lauren is thriving.
It's we just make children happy. That's the only goal within a relationship that has another child. Is just that how else can I make this child happy being apart from their other parent? So like TJ likes to throw Lauren in the air because I'm not doing that, and I don't think Gregory's doing that. So yeah, it's another way to bond and another love connection to have.
Wow. So, you have any advice for people out there who are in a relationship with a person who's disabled, or because dating within our own community sometimes can be hard finding the right person?
I think that patience is really important in dating a person with a disability, because before Lauren's dad, I dated a guy in a wheelchair, and that didn't work out because his mindset was off, and I was like, nope, I can't. And because of that, actually, I decided I wasn't going to date any more guys in wheelchairs. But then I met Gregory, and I'm like, well, you don't have the same mindset, so this might actually work. And then after Gregory, I was like, well, I can't negate a whole demographic or a whole field of men because they have disabilities. And so when I met TJ, I was like, okay, so you got this good mindset and you're disabled, and it kind of worked. So I think being patient with even dating and knowing that you have the power to explore, just explore what you like, because some people like it, some people don't. And some people will like you and some people won't. Just explore your options. I think it's funny because you always have another option. Like if TJ up and left me today, I'd be like, okay, I don't know what I would do, but I have options to move on, because there are a lot of guys who like women with children. Actually, it's it's really creepy, but yeah.
Similar with guys with children and a disability, I think I'm still in the market for some people. People are waiting for me to
leave me
and answer. I'm like, yeah, it's another topic for another
You're like
Well,
not.
like,
You're like not. You're like not happening. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not never.
Well, TJ and I did have a situation in like within a few months of our being in a relationship of that this girl wanted to be with him, and I said, TJ, you can be with her in a platonic friend way, but if she comes between our relationship, then you can go. And it came down to that, and I said, TJ, you're allowed to go, but you know that Lauren is attached to you, and I'm gonna keep it moving either way. So ultimately, I left it to TJ to make the decision whether to go or to stay. TJ made the right decision, and he stayed.
to give you like a little background to it, is another reason why that I held back from dating Brittany too, and we had worked it out. See, I am what they call polyamorous, which basically is not necessarily mean messing around with more than one person, but I'm connected to more than one person. It could be sexually, romantically, or even on a platonic level that is close to romantic level, basically. And so I'm into that lifestyle, and Brittany, not as much.
When he introduced it to me, I knew that with the conversations I had with TJ outside of being in a relationship, well, originally when we met, he said, I regret not marrying the girl who had my baby, and this is what I want for my life. And I said, that's the same with me. I wanted to marry Gregory, but such and such happened. So when he said, I'm still poly though, Brittany, and I said, okay. And I let TJ play around with that idea because I knew where he wanted to go out of the conversations that we had in between ourselves. I knew that he was going to use this. I knew that this had to be a learning curve situation. So I said, go ahead, TJ. Just don't let it become between us, because then if it does, I'm going to step away and explore other options. And so what ended up happening is that the girl was requesting more time with TJ, and TJ realized, like, well, if I get married to you, I can't maintain this once a month and do this and be with you and the kids and so on. And I said, I knew you were going to come to this realization. Thanks for catching up. And that's why.
And also keep in mind too, because I have living series of mental health, it was getting to the point where, especially with the care and attention that she want, it was getting way over my head than I expected. So it came to a point where, should I continue to juggle it, or shall I have to cut my losses and say focus on one? The good thing is we still friends. We getting back to the friendship point. So is that, but I learned how to compromise in that situation because I care more about the future. I care more about people who help me rather than my own selfish interest. Yes, I will still be in my mindset polyamorous, but I gotta consider Brittany in that situation. How can I make sure it does not cross Brittany's lines? So if that means I can't have another girlfriend in Chicago or locally, so be it. If that means my interaction with women means no sexual energy, so be it. Because I love Brittany too much to mess it all because of my own selfish needs. And we actually talked about, okay, this are some potentials here. Navigate this way. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
So it's all about communication at the end of the day, which brings me to my advice. Well, two things. If you know y'all have different mindsets, either break away if it's too much, or if it's something to be work it out, because it may be a thing that the other partner may not understand. So talk things through was a lot. I was scared to talk things through with Brittany because What if she doesn't agree with it? What if she finds it weird? But the more we talk things over, the more we realize there's things we could work with.
In being patient, I think that makes me reasonable too. So like if TJ wants a girlfriend, it's like, okay, but if this comes in between us, it's an issue. So you can have your girlfriend, but keep her over there. Cause I'm over here working and you playing with this. So I think being reasonable and open to compromise is definitely why we are so strong, even in the year that we've had together so far.
Yeah, and I would be the same with Brittany too. If Brittany brings along a girlfriend or whatnot, or even a boyfriend, go for it. Just as long as it doesn't affect us.
I mean, I'm old school. I don't.
I understand.
I'm old school. I don't. I don't believe. My mama taught me, if you're with one person, stay with that person.
One person.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Don't go. Don't go that way. This way. Yeah.
I agree with you, Chewy, and that's another thing also that I learned that I could teach that we should teach people. If you have somebody that supports you and cares for you, even if they're different or support your mindset, go for it. Don't lose that person. Don't worry so much about, oh, they're attractive. They got lots of money in the bank. They're this, but they're not in the same spiritual level as you or have that same mindset as you. But if you have somebody in that same mindset, spiritual level, even if you have different beliefs or if you have less money than the other person, stick with somebody that has the same mindset.
Also, don't compromise. If you, Chewy, say that you're not cool with your girlfriend having a girlfriend, make sure you make that known for her so that coming into a relationship is like, okay, drop that girl because she's not involved in this relationship we're having. So don't settle either.
Set the boundaries.
Yes, right on in the beginning so that they know, like, oh, if I was not comfortable with TJ's polyamory, I would have definitely said, nope, that's, you either get with me or you move on. And I'm sure TJ would have made a decision based off of that too, whether or not we proceeded onto a relationship. But you need to make that known right out, jump in the gate.
Wow. Okay. Which brings me to my next point. You guys got your own program that you guys have sometimes going on about couples and and being disabled.
And non-couples and being disabled.
Non-couple and also non-couples and being disabled. How's that going?
It's going very strong. We had we created this organization called Disability Culture Access Media, or DCAM, and we recognize that there are stuff in the media that needs to be brought up when it comes to disability, but it's not out there. Whether it's sharing disability culture.
Also, that we're not having the conversations of what's going on. People are speaking for us. So we decided that we will create this space and this idea for people to come and share their art. I want to have a talk show and just anything, because the disabled community is very underground and we need to start emerging.
And we have so many parts of disability culture that, hey, why not be like the CAN TV or the CNN of the disability community that showcase all that, as opposed to relying on either blogging or going to the big corporations to talk about those things. So one of the things that came out of DCAM, I think you brought it up, Brittany. You did. Let's have a series or conversations on dating relationships people would definitely want to know more about dating relationships, not just the general how to get a partner. Oh no. We want to know about sex. We want to know about the LGBT plus community. We want to talk about what's the difference between a healthy relationship and abusive relationships.
And also, I think for the next session, we're talking about disclosing your relationship out front versus just waiting till it presents itself. Because I know I've been in situations where I've chosen not to disclose because if you like me for me, then what does being disabled have to do with it? But then there's also another piece of, oh, I've also walk towards someone and then they just walk away. And I'm like, okay, that works too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's up for our next session, which we will be starting those sessions back next week.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
mark your calendars for next Wednesday at 6.
Mm-hmm.
Look for us on the disability culture access media, social media. You can find us definitely on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and that's where you will catch up on what we're talking about, and that's also where you can see the episodes.
Website coming soon.
Yeah.
website coming soon. Wow. Okay. You guys are all over the place.
We're power couples. We here so that we can make the world better and to make each other better. Ain't that right?
Also, TJ will be my VP when I run for presidency. So, yeah,
Okay.
2028.
VP / first man, first gentleman.
I don't know how that's gonna work. I think that's gonna be a little bit of conflict,
Why?
Huh?
Why?
I don't know. I mean,
exactly.
But besides, at least as the first gentleman and a VP, I could do something besides take care of the kids.
The point is that it's a barrier that needs to be broken, and us as being Black disabled people, we want to do that and be the first to do that so that we can be that inspiration for the next disabled person looking in and saying, I want to do that one day. Why not?
And to also shatter myths too. Like when Brittany becomes president, I get to be hopefully the first gentleman. That could shatter a lot of myths that.
Oh, the roles.
Yep.
Well, I'm not saying that you can't do that. What I'm saying is there's gonna be a conflict within either you're the first man or the vice president.
I like that though.
Hey,
challenge
whatever
I'm willing to accept.
Whatever you want to call me. You can call me the first man. I prefer VP, but you want to call me the first man, that's fine too.
I mean, challenge accepted. You're like, hey. Things can change.
Things have changed.
Things can change.
Things are changing.
That's the great thing with our relationship too, where we both in the place where we go against the norm. We don't really care much about the norm, so
I like that. By the way, since you're talking about norm, what is norm?
There is no norm, and that's the point.
Like even before Lauren and Brittany, or even before Theo,
we get to set the norm. Actually, that's kind of the goal of our relationship, I think.
Mm-hmm. Set our own norm. And even with me, when they think of big Black men, they think of he could fix cars,
athletic.
They could build things.
Wow.
With me, I clean, I cook, I do domestic stuff that wives usually do. And that's okay.
And I like that about TJ because I don't cook, I don't clean. And if TJ wants to do that, that works for me because I don't. I mean, I'll help share the load, but it's not all on the wife or it's not all on TJ. So I think that's another reason why we are so strong, in that we understand that there is no norm. Here's what our new norm will be. Whether we bicker about it or decide that it's okay is what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Any advice out there for people who are watching? Um, you are live on Facebook. Okay. I am gonna download this recording. Wow, I didn't. This recorded was longer than the
The
other two.
Yeah,
I'm
because
like,
you
wow,
talk too much.
yeah. I mean,
You talk a lot too.
honestly, the questions that I had for you, you guys answered it off the back. You're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm like, okay, never mind. Let's just cut it through, and then that's it.
Flow, 'cause there's a flow. We got
Mhm.
the flow.
Yeah. I wish all my interviews were like this, but I'm happy for. I'm happy that it went this way. Um, is there anything else you want to tell people out there watching?
Believe in your dreams. Believe in yourself. That's the same thing I said in the individual interviews. If you believe in your goals and believe in your dreams, then a lot of things will fall in place. That's where you get the people who can support you, people who wants to love you and support your dreams of being whoever you want to be.
I think that when you have a solid understanding of who you are, no matter who comes along, they can't convince you otherwise, or they'll push you up to presidency. So I think that you need to find you first, and then that person will come along, and it'll just be second nature for you.
Wow.
And we need to do our own show or book.
Oh,
Just
we
on
got-
us.
yeah, we gotta. When we move it together, we're gonna have a, what do you call it?
Reality TV.
Yes, we're
thing.
doing reality
Oh my
TV,
gosh.
and I'm gonna have a talk show. So we have plans for each other.
Too much Wendy Williams. That's what it is.
It could be that, or it could be that she is gonna have her own talk show. I believe it. I believe in it. You
I
know,
know.
and
He's
like
gonna record it. That's the thing. He'll be the cameraman for it.
Is there other things you want me to record?
I told Brittany already.
Nah,
You know, if you claim it,
not in this house.
it's gonna happen.
I know.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's what you got to do. You know, claim it, and it's gonna happen. She says she's gonna be president in 10 years.
8. We'll
8.
give Biden and Kamala another 4, so they can create a foundation, and then I'll come in after.
Well, what if Kamala takes over?
Then I can wait for her. I am flexible, because I have to wait till I age in anyway. That's why I said 8 years. But I know, yes, Chewy, I know I can probably bypass because I'm awesome, but constitutionally, I'm trying to behave and give them their space. If she wants to do the next 4 years, then I'm waiting till after her, and that way it could be a black girl magic situation and easy.
Unlike other people who don't care about the Constitution, which remain nameless.
Let it go.
Trump!
Yeah, I don't care. I don't. Well, let's talk about that. How was it?
Oh, fudge.
How was it? How was it for you guys the last 4 years? I mean, because I know for me it was so difficult to even imagine myself living another 4 years
Mm-hmm.
under that guy.
Oh, it was motivation, especially in the activism work that we do. We still got to fight. And I know I talked to a lot of people, even when it was time to vote him out. They were like, well, what would you do if there was another 4 years? And I said, as an advocate, whether it's Biden or Trump, I still got work to do. So it wasn't really a nail biting situation for me, because we still got to do the work we do. We still got to compromise on what we need and our rights and what we deserve. So I don't think it was very anxiety ridden for me, because I was like, whatever, the next one in, one out, I'll be there eventually. So I feel like always like there's is always a shift, and I think that's the good thing about our democracies, that we have the power to the people, essentially. So whether it's some cockroach or some shining star, so it could have been Jesus, it could have been a cockroach. I have to fight the cockroach, and I can get to know Jesus and saying, Jesus, can we make this world a better place? And so you still have to talk and develop a relationship with whatever administration comes in or out.
And that, and also, even when things are not going our way on a big level, things go our way at a local level.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we give a lot of crap about Chicago, we still decided to stay in Chicago individually because we know Chicago stands for what we stand for the most part, which is respect people in a city for all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why under the previous administration, I'm glad that
he wasn't allowed.
He wasn't even allowed to see Chicago or visit Chicago. So that sets the tone. You mess with our city,
we're coming for you.
Wow. So I already asked you guys, where do you see yourself in 10 years? But where do you see your children in 10 years?
In the White House with us.
Well,
or no matter what we do the next 10 years, I know this. Our children will be amazing whatever they do. They gonna set bars we haven't even dreamed of because they gonna have the support, the knowledge, and the personality to be the next leaders in the world.
The product of amazing is amazing.
So I gotta tell you guys something. I decided to interview you both because I am going to ask both of you. So I'm going to ask you both that for the next interviews that I have. Now, I know you have a busy schedule.
Okay.
So I know that I'm going to have to work around that schedule. So I want to see if both of you would like to help me host the next interview. Well, I believe it's Kimberly Johnson, the next person.
Okay.
That's gonna be on Thursday.
Why do you need us?
You said you want to be a TV host, right? You said you want to. You said you wanted to be your own TV show.
Oh, but I didn't say co-host.
I'll be like this. I'll be like this in the background.
I see where you're going.
I mean, you gotta start small. You gotta think big, but you gotta start small.
Host as a couple, or
as a couple, as an individual, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday at what time? I don't know my schedule. Just shout it out at this point. What time on Thursday, Chewy?
Give me 1 second.
Give me 1 second.
My planner is
okay. No, actually, it's on the 24th. What's the 24th?
I don't know.
The 24th is actually on a Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. And it's gonna be with Coop.
Yay, we love Cooper.
Yeah, it's gonna be with Mr. Cooper.
What time?
That's gonna be at, let me see. I scheduled with him at 4 p.m.
So I gotta check my schedule.
I'm
available at 4.
TJ might be available. I don't think that I am, but I will let you know.
So no question is off the table. I haven't sent him the question. Well, I actually did, but I also put it like I put it on your questions. Mm-hmm. These questions can be changed.
Yeah.
So I guess no question is off the table.
Okay, we're not controversial people, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, when you do that, Chewy, I think it lets us help navigate the conversation of like if you ask about our work and Cooper asking Cooper about his work, he'll talk about his presentation he did this past weekend or week. Was that the weekend?
Yeah, it was on the weekend on Friday.
Yeah, so he'll probably disclose that and how he got to that and what he's gonna do in the future with that. So I think that is very helpful when you tell us that.
yeah, I know he's gonna want to brag about that, which is cool. But you know, there's more to wheelchair chron. There's more. What's much more than just the wheelchair. Excuse me, the wheelchair chronicles. So I mean, there's stuff that I mean, like I haven't touched with, like I did to you, both of you. You know, and you guys shared a lot. And I want to say thank you for being so open about your disabilities. I know sometimes it's not, how do I say it? I know it's not a friendly world out there for us as people with disabilities.
But we're talking to you, Chewy. This is a
Well, yeah, I know you're talking to me.
fireside chat with Chewy.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Not as intimidating as somebody we don't know or like a therapist or like a professional. I mean, not to say that you're not professional, but yeah, it's a different mindset.
yeah, you guys know me already, and I know you know that I won't step over the line or whatever, you know. But you know, to be open, blunt about your disability, and I'm sharing this on three platforms on Facebook. You know, you don't know who's watching, so it's you know, it's just I'm thankful to have you guys as my friends, and I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful that you guys are willing to do this.
But yeah, I'll let you know for sure. And yeah, we can do that.
Cool.
At least TJ will. I'll be in the background. I just don't know. I think I have a meeting. I gotta confirm. Yeah, I think somebody just told me about a meeting, but I don't know if it's in the morning or afternoon. So I just gotta double check. But I'll let you know.
Well, if that person's watching, can you make it in the morning so he can be?
That's happening in the ARO, so that's a drag thing.
Oh, that's probably gonna be in the afternoon.
No, but we're talking to the DOH, so I don't know what time that meeting was. So
wow.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I wrote it down. I'll let you know. By the time we get off here, I'll let you know. I don't even know where my planner is though.
All right. Well, I am going to close this out, but before I do, anything else you want to say?
I do actually.
Oh, you do? And oh,
that was it. Thank you, Chewy.
Never mind what I want to say. Never mind. I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, chicken. Wow, wow.